welcome to fun and educational videos. Uh, Today, we're not gonna spend that much time going live, but 5, 10 minutes. Quick jot down. Tonight at midnight, there's gonna be a curfew. You know, basically, this is a stage 2 lockdown once again. Schools will resume tomorrow morning, but only online. So, I mean, that's what took place last time, and now this new variant has brought us back to stage 1. So, in in knowing that, we have to understand. Hold on. So, in knowing that, we have to understand that we are in a state of emergency. Basically, we have to take precautions in your health and the things that you're doing, restrictions, you know, no more bars. Uh, Basically, gyms are closed. So, I mean, there's many different ways to, of course, to get healthy, right? You can, go for a run, you can do home training, regardless, you can stay active. So, those are the restrictions. And after years, we're sort of now, today, I want to talk about teachers as preachers. Teachers and preachers, they're the same. Now, a preacher is obviously a person that talks directly about God. You know, he's the creator, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and he or she gives you the rundown on how to connect with God and how to develop a relationship with God. And so that's what a preacher mainly does. Teacher does not, you know, fully directly teaches you about God, but he teaches you many abilities of God. He or she can teach you, but if it's math, science, any type of subject that you have in school is teaching you how, the power of God is. Because, I mean, God created everything. So if God created everything, then scientifically, right, it will make sense when a teacher is teaching science, or if a teacher is teaching math or computers. All of those is to help you to understand how to operate a system or how to solve equations. And so, in many ways, both teacher and preacher brings the good message of knowledge and knowing. And with that being said, it tells you that teachers, right, are slowly but vastly, not just teachers and preachers, they're being replaced. They're being replaced by AIs. They're being replaced by just, search engines and so forth, where you can go type to a computer, and as long as you know the question or know the equation, right, then the computer would be able to calculate and even show you the answer step by step, which in in all regards is basically telling you that they have found an alternative type of teacher where you can be self-sufficient by yourself by learning from these um, basically these organizations, right? Or these different sectors of education. Because I mean, it used to be physical education where the teacher was there, the teacher will be teaching you and day in and day out, right? But now things have changed. Same thing with the church, with the temple, with any place of religion, of worship, I mean. So you have to understand places of worship is also schools, right? Many people don't know that, but place of worship is school because at the school, though they're not going to teach some schools, right? Though they're not going to teach you religion unless you go to religion class, they're going to teach you things that shows you about morals, about how to be disciplined, how to, strive, how to stay motivated. Basically, they're teaching you how to be a human being, how to be a good person from a young age. So, I mean, you think about how much hours you spend in school or you used to spend in school, physical school, right? 6, 7 hours a day. And now it's cut back drastically because of the pandemic. So it's the same thing at the mosque, it's the same thing at the church, same thing at the temple. All those things, places of teachings, because you learn different teachings as time goes. All those places have changed. Why has this changed? It has changed simply because of the restrictions. But I want people to understand that, you know, the jobs that used to be a guarantee is no longer to look at the prime minister and blame the prime minister and say, well, the prime minister oversees everything, so it's his fault. But some of the blame, okay, but majority of the blame is not him. You have to understand that even the prime ministers and the presidents of the countries, even them, right? Even them have a boss, which is the UN. The UN oversees the entire world and every single, major case. And they mainly decide what takes place in countries. Now they say they leave it out to the prime minister or the president, but we all know who oversees all of them. There has to be an overseer, which is the UN, which they hold each prime minister and each president. And so they go based on the actions. Do they agree? And if they agree, then they should do exactly what is being subjected or passed on to them and their country. Now, every country is different with different laws, but there's ways of suppressing those laws when it comes to emergency sequences. And you have to understand that's Florida. Right now, people are saying, well, Florida has a mandate. Florida is a place where, you're going to go and you're going to be safe. Nobody's going to, what's it called? You know what I mean? Point fingers. You're allowed to, party and be free. But then now they have Florenza or Flora, right? It's a fluenza and COVID mix. And supposedly, right, this case is very serious and it's going to drastically ramp up, the health of of Florida citizens. So it's very dangerous, which means Florida might hit an emergency mode, which means once Florida has entered emergency mode, the federal government takes over and the federal government gets to decide whatever they want in order to eradicate this problem properly. So, this is something that you have to understand. We are living in the times where You have to continuously push, to strive, to change, to stay motivated. You're not going to get the assistance that you require in the first place. I mean, you see what is going on. I know a lot of the presidents and prime ministers, they see the truth, but they are caught up in such a higher connectivity with amongst themselves, right? The politicians and, those lawmakers, the ones that put together the law and create the law, they have created such a system and in such a drastic way that all people are doing now is just following rubrics one by one, one by one, one by one. And so the world has changed because it's 3 years now. Go anywhere, but there's restrictions. We all live, yes, we have peace, but no longer have maximum. Even people that are going out to work early in the morning, they have to, instead of getting think about it, but yet they're more confused because they're cooperating, but yet they're not getting consistent answers, right? They have to spend hours, sometimes even sleep in there just to get tested, to get checked. Now you tell me, how fun is that? It's not fun. And how long can somebody continuously take this route until they get frustrated? All of those things are happening in society. What people see as norm behavior is not norm behavior anymore. Things have changed drastically. I mean, education, right? Kids are supposed to be going back on the 17th. Tomorrow they start online classes. Tomorrow there's restrictions. Now, come the 17, look at this variant that's very drastic. Do you think that these kids, right, are going to be able to go back to school? Most likely, I doubt that because, I mean, there's going to be cases ramping up. Cases have surged, right, in Canada and Ontario. And so, putting these restrictions in 2 weeks' time, I mean, that's flu season for all people, all kids, especially kids going to school to improve their immune system, right? They get sick just so that they can improve their immune system. So it's a very dangerous web that we're playing with. Because, I mean, if the kids stay home, parents have to stay home. Now, if parents stay home, then obviously things are gonna blow back because rotation, motion, nothing. If there's no motion, then things are gonna die down drastically, right? The stress levels have increased. And yes, stress is one thing, but also dealing with it has become harder and harder because there's always changes. And anytime you find something that you enjoy just a little bit, it gets changed to something else, right? So we're not seeing the consistency, right? We're just seeing changes of motion, right? One day is this, the next day is that. You know, we need to solve this issue. The solution is not to to fight our way through it with vaccinations. It's not good for us. You take a look. Every single time we get injected, what happens to our blood? Hmm? Our blood, chances are, get diluted. Now, how long does it take for us to recover? Right? Maybe once, twice. But if you keep going three, four, five, six, seven, and just keep taking it, we're not going to get lucky all the time. That's how it is, right? We know the truth, but we're avoiding the truth because of politics, right? Or because of the the contracts that we set out with other nations to, orchestrate a plan. Because regardless of the fact, whatever country we live in, we have a God-given right, which is wherever we live, we have the right to be there, no matter which country, you know, because to be honest, no country belongs to nobody. We all come from somewhere, right? But understand that there is privileges for some, or they're supposed to be, but if it changes, but we don't have the right to say, yo, you know, we can't decide our own health. We can't decide what we should do with ourselves. See what I'm saying? If you want to get vaccinated, if you want to continuously push to get the booster shots, and of course there could be other variants emerging just soon, and then you want to continuously do that, right? That's not a problem. But if somebody doesn't want to do that, that should not be a problem either. Because if they're the ones who receive they catch it, right? If they die, they die because they decide to do that. See what I'm saying? So allow people to make choices, because the life we're living is only we're only meant to live once, right? And if we're meant to live once, we should live it on our terms. We're not harming anybody because we all breathe in the same air. We're not harming anybody because your mandates strictly says we are not harming anybody based on what you guys put in place. I mean, we can go to the mall and buy food, but we can't sit in the food court. But yet we're in the same area. And you cannot tell me that we're not breathing the same air. And if we are breathing the same air, then it means we, what's it called? We don't have problems. We're not harming anybody. You understand? Because it should be we shouldn't be able to go to the food court. We shouldn't even be able to go wherever any vaccinated person goes. It should be like that. But it's not, right? We can do so many things, right? Just not certain little things, right? Doesn't make sense. So that's why I'm saying we're not really harming anybody if we say we don't want to take it. Those who feel like they need to take it, you should take it because you want to take it. But make that choice for yourself, because if you made that choice, then you can't turn around and say, oh, the government said this, the government said that. The government simply asked you. They put obligations in place. It's up to you to decide if you want to take it or not. But if you are going to force yourself to jump into it, then you jump into it. But you can't turn around and blame, because you see, the problems will come. This is not something that is a small issue. It's been taking place for some time. And now we are seeing the effects of it, right? We are seeing day in society, right? Day by day, changes in the educational system. I mean, people can protest all they want, but this kind of sequence that they put in place, these mandates are protest proof, you know? They're protest proof. That's why it started, and still, they're still doing it. Because it's a, basically, you can say they know everything that is going on. They already calculated it because they ran a stimulation a long time ago, understanding the concept. So they're still pushing this. Because 3 years ago, if they said, oh, restrictions of this, restrictions of that, people will be like, that's absurd. The federal government would never allow that, and never take place. But due to the case of emergency, right? Due to the case of emergency, things can change. the laws of the land can change just to suit the solution of the problem, right? Or the best solution at the time that they can come up with. But know that laws are put in place, but they're not really permanent. If emergency comes, state of emergency, those laws are over, they will be overridden, just like how things are happening right now, no matter what. And guess what? You cannot bring the prime minister, none of them, to any court. You understand? Because it's beyond that. The concepts that they already put in place has changed anything. You're not putting Justin Trudeau, you're not bringing him to court. He's not going to go anywhere. No prime minister, no president is going to be tried for anything. You see what I'm saying? So understand that that's how society is going, regardless of what you want to say, how you want to feel. But be real with yourself. Understand that if us all, they can try their best because we see them as the best fit, but they only have a certain amount of control. See what I'm saying? They have control over us, but the UN calculates their control to a different degree of how much percentage they have because they look at it from a higher volume of worldwide, global. You understand? So think about it. This is how society is. Educate your kids, educate your family. Famine is on there and it's still going and it will continuously get worse. 2022 will be like that. Prices will go up and have gone up and it continuously will go up. Resources will be less. Think about it. You have hospitals, right? In Ontario in code orange. That is a state of emergency in hospital code. So you tell me what's happening, right? The hospitals are filled with a lot of patients. Remember, not only the virus patients, but wintertime, there's lots of people that get sick and they go to the hospital just for, seasonal flus. Not just that, but there's patients that have cancer. They have, whatever disease that they're going through. That's just one aspect. Then you have the, the regular COVID, right? And then you have the mutated COVID, and then you have the new variant that's circulating and you don't know, but it seems like the new variants are easier transmissible, right? Faster, faster, faster. More dangerous, which causes more restrictions on us because it's going to continuously mutate. So, the best thing you can do is, obviously take your vitamins, minerals, good health, exercise, right? But also take time with you and your family to reflect on what really matters. Because you notice at the same time, the metaverse is being created. So, a mental state of mind, right? They want less activity and more focus, right? Mental activity, but in the virtual world. And so the virtual world is going to be a form of reality, right? Where people are going to go to work, right? In the comfort of their homes, but they will be an avatar created to go to work. So obviously there's going to be prime minister, there's going to be president, there's going to be all kinds of different types of people that can change, that can do so many things, right? And people need to understand that technology has given us that kind of advancement. But remember, all these things are happening, and you're a human being. You will indulge in these things, right? But protect your soul. Remember, your soul does not belong to the devil. It does not belong to any human being. It belongs to God. Matter of fact, it doesn't belong to you. So that's why you have to protect your most precious asset, which is your soul. You didn't come here so complex for no reason. You didn't come here and become God's favorite creation for no reason when there's so much unique creations, but yet you decide to choose us because we can decide for ourselves. We can think, we can make, we can create, just like how God is creating. And God knew that there will come a time where we will create so much things vastly, like how He creates, right? Obviously on a lower scale, but to our liking. We might not be so good with control because control, right? Too much of it, too much power can consume the individual to, to do bad things. So let me know what you guys think about this whole mandate, about these new restrictions in Ontario, about the fact that, you know, all we had certain levels of fun, but now it's completely gone. How businesses are being ripped apart, how teachers, right, are going through like so much problems because schools is changing, their schedules are changing, their jobs are no longer a guarantee, but yet they spend so much money, right, and so much time getting educated. Should they get some type of compensation, right? Because it's going to be harder for them. And let's face it, if a teacher cannot really get a job to teach, then what's going to happen is how would they be able to pay their fees and their bills? You know, if 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 preachers cannot run their service on a normal capacity, how would the church function? Because all of these things or sectors require motion of play, rotation motion, consistent rotation motion. They need that in order to be successful. And all the tools that they once had is being taken from them, right? And changed drastically. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you guys blame the government for changing the plans? But I see past the governments. I know that they are behind, you know, the governments are, one aspect, but there's a government that governs all the governments, and they're behind that. So when they see the people that they point fingers at, and they say, well, these are the kind of people we we are going to point fingers at this sector because this political party. But I want you guys to understand the political parties don't really have power, right? It's given to them. And so now you understand because if it's not given to them, do you not think that they know that this is wrong? How come? Right? They know this is wrong, but they continuously push all of these things. Why would they do that? Because deep inside, right, they don't have say in what really is going on. They're just being told, do this, do this, do this, do this. That is why they continuously change, right? They say one thing and the next thing, and then one thing and the next thing. Not because they want to, but because of, it's like this, okay? You don't know what keeps your country safe. You don't know some secrets that, it might change how you perceive things. But yet these governments, right? They know. And it allows them to move in a certain way where for others it seems like, you know, it's strange. What? Well, how come they're moving like that, right? But you have to understand. Look at it. You think that they they don't have a mind of their own, or they're not educated, or they're not intellectual? It's because there is something behind, which is the UN. They decide what country does what. They decide what country is first world and what country is second world. They decide which country develops and which country doesn't develop. Why do they decide all these things? Hmm? So it's like Canada is like, for example, like a one small center, and they put a boss there and they tell them, okay, do your job. But ultimately, you is like a congregation, right? So you have many congregations around the world, and you have a sector, and they tell the sector, this is what I want you to these are the plans that I want you to follow, right? This is maybe a 5 or 10 year plan, and you follow this gradually. So if it's a good plan at the beginning, it might end off as a bad plan at the end. However, those plans still needs to be what? Initiated. And that's what people don't understand. Plans need to be initiated. And so that is why we are seeing the obvious. We are saying, okay, we can go to the food court and we can go and buy food. We breathe in the same air in the same place, all wearing masks. But yet, one can go there and sit and eat, but the other cannot. We are breathing the same air in the same vicinity. Doing that, that means whatever virus is passing through the atmosphere, we're all going to catch it. Why? Hmm? We're all going to catch it. So, regardless of what people want to say or what people might feel, at the end of the day, right, your best bet is taking your vitamins and minerals, right? Making sure that you are what? Clean, but yet your immune system is also strong, right? Don't pollute the system so much, right? All these things are showing you that consistency, right, have changed. It's very hard to do things now, right? You try to go on a fun vacation, but it's not fun. Yeah. So I just want, you know, okay, society has changed, and we try to, change with the motion, because I mean, as humans, we can adapt, right? You have to adapt. You have to make sure things are the way they are. But as humans, need to be, you know, we need to be transparent with each other, like true transparency, right? And it's very difficult. It goes against all the top teachings that we got taught in school or at home. It goes against it. So, I mean, protect yourself, try to protect your family, you know, do the best you can by staying healthy, keeping others as well healthy. We breathe in the same atmosphere. So, regardless of what's going on, you can't tell me you can sit there for 24 hours without air. It's not possible, right? Hardly can somebody, sit there with even 5 minutes without air, right? Very difficult. Not the average person. So, we need the quality air. Society, the environment has changed. That doesn't do well for us and our health, right? I mean, it's going to go back into the food that we eat. It's going to go back to the water we drink. The virus, I don't think, could be stopped, because guess what? I simply think this has to, like, it's going to change how we live, as human beings, and what is valuable, what is considered successful, right? What is culture, called education. Life has changed. I mean, for the past 3 years, can you tell me, have you looked at 100 faces, physical new faces in the past 3 years? Can you tell me, have you looked at face to face without a mask on? The average person, I don't think so. So that should show you that things are changing drastically when they're able to put in a systematic plan, mandate that's able to distance people. If you distance people, you can change their mental state of mind. You can change how they think, right? Due to isolation, because then they will start to value different things. Things that they used to value before could be modified to a different kind of value. So tell me, how do you plan to consistently stay safe? How do you plan to adapt to the challenges of society? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Have a nice day.